Some of you who know your Southampton history might know why, or might have a sense of why we're on this ramp. This is the only remaining bit of the original supermarine factory that was built in 1913, originally to launch seaplanes into the water. So we thought it quite fitting to be launching our new play from it today.
My grandfather was a docker in Portsmouth, so I sort of know the area and I know the voices. They're the voices of my parents' generation. Well, the factory here at Woolston was bombed 26th of September 1940.
So these last few weeks before opening 9th of February, I mean, they're going to be excruciatingly long.
Well, you know what? I actually think once we get in, it's just going to go far too quickly.
Try and tell a really great story and hope they like it. You could just say, is this true? This is what we think is true. We think this is important. But you can't dictate to an audience. They dictate to you in a way.
Okay, who would you like first? Sam?
There's a 500-seat space and a studio space, also rehearsal studios, workshop space, offices, all this sort of thing. So we'll be sort of building, some of those are new for us, we'll be building them gradually, and theatre is sort of at the heart of it.
Within 6 weeks of the factory being bombed, the first Spitfire flew. Also, I thought, well, it's a great family saga, it's a community story.
It's about the future rather than about the past. It's in a way, when the Blitz happens, this story starts. Literally out of the wreckage comes a story of people sort of rallying in spite of 85% of this city was destroyed, including the Woolston factory just behind where we're stood now. You'd have thought it would be fair enough for them to sort of pack up and go home at that point, and yet over the course of the next few weeks, with lightning speed, these shadow factories were created. So I'm working with a wonderful design company called 59 Productions, who specialise in video design. They did video for the opening ceremony of the Olympics. So there will be video projection, there will be sort of high technical things coming in from the sky, there'll be a lot of music, and crucially we're going to be using 25 members of the local community in the show every night. They're our chorus, if you like, and they're the way that we sort of zoom out from the human story and capture what was happening all across the city. NST City, which is our new theatre, is part of a big cultural complex called Studio 144. It's a £30 million investment from the city and from the Arts Council to the cultural quarter of Southampton. And our building, there are two buildings, one is an art gallery, and the other building that we're looking after has 2 theatre spaces, workshop space, rehearsal space, community spaces and office space, and a restaurant and bar. So the idea is that it's not just a performance space, but that it is a sort of hub. It's a place where people congregate. It's a place where emerging artists can come and develop their work. We want it to be a place that feels owned by the local community. In terms of what it can do, you know, I feel like we're on a journey culturally in this city. I think it's growing all the time. It's becoming more and more confident. I want Southampton. I believe that Southampton can be on a par with any other city around the country, culturally speaking. And I think this is an important sort of milestone on that.
It was a lost story. People didn't know about it. It's also a national story in many ways, in that similar things would happen. You know, communities would transform themselves under terrible pressure. That's what attracted me, really. Well, look, a factory is destroyed, but the machine tools survive. And the government decides, well, what that factory was making will now be made in back streets throughout the town. 35 businesses were requisitioned overnight and told, move your stuff out, move your laundry out, move your supplies, your food, whatever you're making out, and Supermarine will move machine tools in tomorrow. People in a crisis, and who knows what crisis we're going to face in the next few years. Who knows what the communities are going to have to do, either to save themselves or reclaim their towns. Hopefully we're not going to get bombed, but you know, this is what people can do. And stories, great stories from the past, can be used like that. Well, because theatre, the centre of theatre, are live actors pretending to be real people. You know, you can get to what the human experience of something is with fictional characters. Some characters in the plays are real, like Lord Beaverbrook appears, and some are fictional. Well, there was obviously Beaverbrook. There was a manager of the factory, Len Gooch, who heroically took the brunt of Beaverbrook's commands and put them into action in the town. He wasn't liked for it. I put him under enormous pressure. But he is a man that I really came to admire as I was writing him. And then there are my fictional characters who won't put up with it at first, who give Len a horrible time, and who will go off and sleep on the common because they were called trekkers. They'd avoid the bombing of the night. So there are lots of rich stories. And in the end, it worked because people made it work.